Well, the thing about success too, it's fleeting and it's transient, and so you've got to fall in love with the work. If I ever give advice to anybody getting into a performance situation or entertainment situation, it's you got to love the work, because there are going to be peaks and valleys to a creative career. We're talking with Mark Volman. Mark, your spirituality has also come to the forefront of your activities, being that you came up in the 60s. There was a lot of soul searching and a lot of stuff out there for people to delve into and perhaps contemplate, but that's come to the forefront these days for you as well, hasn't it?
Well, when I started college at Loyola Marymount, it's a Jesuit university. I was raised in a family, very forgiving family. My father was Jewish. My mother was Catholic. They were married during a time in American history where that was a very challenging commitment. I was raised as a Catholic, but I always appreciated the Jewish religion. And when I went to Loyola Marymount as a full-grown student, mentally I was prepared at that time, especially after the 60s, where the 60s revolution sort of wrapped itself around the philosophies of the Indian philosophies that were really perpetuated as the Beatles discovered the yogis, and we kind of saw Pete Townsend discover Janoff and all of these different screen therapies and Scientology, and kind of went through all of those along with everybody else back at that period of time. But as I approached middle age, I wanted to sort of explore my backgrounds as a young person in my religion, and went to a Catholic university where I did a minor in theology, and it was really had a lot of revelations for me. I was baptized a Methodist in 1994 or 1995. I was baptized a Methodist, and in fact became a lay minister in the Methodist Church, and actually began my studies as a PhD in expository preaching and pulpit communication, not so much to work in the business of divinity, but to learn more about philosophy, psychology, and theology. And that has stayed with me, in getting the opportunity to be here in a Christian environment, which Belmont is a wow, this is a heavy morning show. I thought we were going to talk about lesbians and things.
Lesbians. That's the next question. Tell us about lesbians. Well, but because your career, your whole history, it's at theturtles.com. You can learn more about what you've gone into. But you the interviews, and you've continued to inspire me. So I wanted to let people know,
Well, I think that's. I've never really done anything to inspire anybody, and maybe that was part of the problem, was that I really discovered value in I guess the things that I value, and I think that they became more organized. And I think when I went to the university as a student, it taught me, I was just such a poor student in high school, and it wasn't because I didn't. It wasn't because I wasn't smart. It was just because that was I attracted people because I was loud, and I was the comedy. When I was the class clown, and Howard, my partner, was always the smart guy. He was the valedictorian in high school, and so that was a really comfortable position to kind of bury myself in. And so when I went to college, I graduated from Loyola with my bachelor's degree in communications. I was magna cum laude, and I actually was the valedictorian of the 1990
All right.
class. So I sort of was able to look at myself and realize that I had really blossomed in my 40s. Intellectually speaking, I knew how to go to college and make a commitment. And when I finished my master's, and I was in that unique position of being in the top 2 or 3% of my graduating class. I graduated with a 3.9 GPA, and I realized the value of studying, and I realized that it wasn't about people telling me to do it. It was
Right.
about the fact that I really learned how to read and take things in and how to apply them to my life so that I could teach people in this time that I have here. And the point of it is that it's an artistic, I'm in an artistic base. I have a real good artistic base of operations, and it allows me to not only continually, reflect on my history and be in the present, because I'm still doing the Turtles
Right.
and still creating, but I'm also working with a lot of younger people who don't have the ability spiritually, emotionally, intellectually to kind of they haven't discovered what their thing is
Right.
yet. And so I'm in a unique position to help them kind of not discover that thing, but to begin to assume some responsibility for the things that they want to do, and to learn how to give in to creativity and not be afraid to try to do things that might not fit the normal patterns that their families expected, but to challenge themselves every day to be successful and find a place to have this creativity as a lifetime commitment. And hopefully with that, they will become better parents and fathers and mothers, and they will be able to maybe we can have a much more sane relationship between parents and children, so that we can begin to kind of tone down the rhetoric and tone down the stress and tone down, so society benefits from that. I mean,
Right.
that's what we have to do. I mean, we have to look at ourselves within this big, giant society, and we are a part of this, part and parcel of that. And it's really important for us and to have that vision for all of us to become better people first. Because, I mean, we see what happens. We can't stop the insanity, but we can control our own highs and lows, so that maybe we can become better parents to help our children achieve success. And this gives me a very unique position. And it might be because I was on tour so much that I
Right.
sort of missed that with my children. And that by teaching, I'm able to finally maybe do that. And that's the thing that I've sort of discovered about myself, was that as I was sort of caught up and wrapped up in my own life and survival as a member of the Turtles and going through the rock and roll world I was in, it was pretty singularly all about me.
Yes.
And so going to college and sort of being able to reflect on where I am in my life, I realized it's not, that wasn't a bad thing, but it's allowed me to kind of put myself in a much better position perspective-wise to help others who are aspiring, and for me to kind of stop competing but to help them find
Right.
a way to do what I got a chance to do.
Well, there you have it. There's Mark Volman from the Turtles to Belmont University. And now, what time does your class start? We got like 20 minutes to get to class.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have classes from 8 to 1, and then Monday and Wednesday, I have classes from about 9 to about, 2 o'clock. And Friday, I keep for administrative work. I'm right in the middle of negotiating a summer tour that we're going to do, Happy Together 2011.
All right.
With the Turtles, the Buckinghams, the Grassroots, the Association, and Mark Lindsay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we're going to take a tour around the United States for 30 cities. So I'm right in the middle of trying to get a little more money out of the promoters. And so I didn't sleep a whole lot last night because, you wake up. I don't know about y'all who are listening to the radio, but I wake up and I just caught myself saying y'all.
And that's the Tennessee coming out.
But
yeah.
You know what? You live in Nashville, Tennessee, and before you know it, you're talking like a Southerner.
Y'all.
Yeah. It's really scary.
But well, thanks for being on, and come back on
it's
again.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. I'll just tell I'm not in a big habit of doing this, but we have a really nice website which you got a chance to look at, and there's a lot of Flo and Eddie fans who've asked us for years and years about the records we made as Flo and Eddie, which really they never sold. But we built a really good fan base of very unique people, and insane unique people.
Yeah.
All the Flo and Eddie material we've been able to get back, and have finally got up on the world's biggest record store called iTunes, and so now all of our music, the Turtles' greatest hits, all of the albums, Battle of the Bands, and Shell Shock.
Battle of the Bands, sure.
Yeah, and all the Flo and Eddie music is finally available online, so that's good for people to know.
Yeah,
and
theturtles.com. And you know what? It did sell to me, Mark, because I have my Flo and Eddie stuff not only on vinyl in plastic, but I also have it on CD.
The great thing about that is that it gets kind of discovered every year. Last year, a hip-hop artist by the name of Gucci Mane discovered the song Keep It Warm, which was on our album Moving Targets, and he used it on a record called Lemonade, which in the hip-hop business became a gold record. And Howard and I were put in that unique position of being co-writers and co-publishers of a huge hip-hop record last year. And so it's kind of interesting how the people who are out there in the industry that are looking for things to sample and put your music in cartoons, and Shrek used our record this past Halloween in the Scared Shrekless. They used Happy Together, and we're like in that Bob Gaudio position. We finally own all of the recordings. So
a good time to own it, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the really nice things about being able to continue to tour and why we do, because it puts us in that position of being able to tell people that our music is finally available. And that's one of the nice things. I think the online record business has gotten better for artists like us, because record companies don't put out, old music anymore. And so the fact that we can use the online industries, and for us, we own it. So we get to make, the profits that the record companies used to make. We are now those people. And so it's a unique situation, but it's also for us finally in a position of a reward for us.